So I figured I'd make this just a separate video, but just wanted to show off my tweeter pods a little bit. They got resprayed recently. I had to, that's why honest to goodness, I've been working, well, not consistently, but my first experience with Bondo was when I was 16, when I had my first Thunderbird. And I used a lot of it that summer. And I learned like fiberglass and all that stuff, but I've never used it in an artistic situation where lines and things will start to appear. So this was a pain to get these, and you can still see like there's still some imperfections, like the little air pocket. I am not concerned about that at all. Like overall, I'm mostly satisfied with how these turned out. What they are is it's basically wood. You can see there's still masking tape because that's had to be used as a form. But you only see this side from the windshield, so you can see the line there. Like I'm, whatever. I just like the look of these because they kind of, it's like 50s sci-fi, kind of like The Day the Earth Stood Still. Like some, I don't know, it's just different. That one's pretty bad. See, what'll happen is they'll cure and those lines won't show up, but that's the line. So basically you're looking at wood on the top, and then that's all body filler, and that's why there's masking tape in there to hold that form. Like it can be taken out, but it's just still in there. Overall, I'm satisfied with them. I've never really done any kind of like sculpture with mixing wood and body filler. But where you see them as the rider or driver is there, and they're like I guess you can see the line there. But other than that, they are what they are. They look better having done body filler and painting them than they would have if I just screwed some wood blocks in there. This one has an annoying spot. See, no matter how many times I feathered that and redid that, that line still shows up. So, and then that's Dupla Color Chrome. Didn't come out the most reflective, but they look good like on camera and in person. Like, they're probably not even perfectly cloned to each other either. Like they're pretty close. Probably slightly different, but they're on complete opposite sides. And then the only thing I have to do from there is like I did tape it up originally, but then I'll have to tape the actual pods so that I can paint these like a dark shadow gray again. Just get rid of the chrome. You can see where that was sanded and now it lost some of its texture, but these are for, then there's a hole for the wire, but here's the actual tweeter. These are aluminum, and these are from my Pioneer Z components. Very awesome speakers. You can also see they're just how this worked, because it probably looks pretty weird, right? Like, how did he do that? That's how. So the wood is on, because there's two planes here, see? Yeah, that looks pretty bad, but you're not going to see that, so it doesn't matter. The line, I mean. And even then, whatever. It's not going to affect my music listening pleasure, I guess. So yeah, so the wood is situated on the right side, and then I screwed it in, and it's very secure, so it's held by those two screws and then the Bondo itself. So they look very cool when they're actually in there. So it's like that, and this one, yeah, this is the driver's side, so this one is like kind of right next to the tack too. And then you know, these are directional, and they are basically perfectly ear level. The only concern I have with the tweeters in there and being a vehicle with a lot of glass, like a conversion van, is the highs. Like at some point I'll get like a sub in there for the lows. But with these tweeters, like those Pioneers are actually high res audio, so their frequency response and range is really decent, and they can really kind of scream. Um, the crossovers I got, I could have gotten a slightly better one. Like the Z's come in like two different kits. The better crossover version does have like a -3 decibel setting to kind of take the highs down. But I guess if you have like an equalizer in the deck or something, it probably won't be a huge deal. But that's the only thing with having excessive glass that I'm worried about, like having the tweeters up there. But that's where they're supposed to go, and that's where they're going to be pointed. So I think the audio in this whole truck and the acoustics is going to be really awesome. So I'm excited about that. That's why, it's funny. You work your ass off on something, they go up on a shelf, and you forget. And standing here, I'm like, oh my god, I like redid so many parts of this like 3 times, and I did get it to all the visible portions of it that you're gonna see look okay, and then the bad stuff is behind it. But when you're looking in through the windshield from a distance, like it's kind of hard to tell. Like in the light there, yeah, you can see that line. But other than that, I just love how that looks. I don't know. It's just cool. It's kind of like sexy and curvaceous, kind of sci-fi. And I didn't have to chrome them. Like I could have toned down the imperfections a bit, but it's still pretty cool. And they're solid. That's the most important. The speakers aren't going to fall anywhere. So, but yeah, I did consider, I'm like, oh, should I do, make it easy and paint the whole thing one color, like all gray? But I have a lot of like the tack is chrome and stuff like that. So obviously once this is painted gray, they'll stand out more. But like, I don't know. I had to make them like silver chrome. And it's unfortunately not the toughest paint either. Like, I'm always afraid to touch these. Like, even, like, you could, I don't know, they've been curing for a long while, but, and there's definitely better chrome paints, but it doesn't have to be a mirror. Like, they're still reflective, but, it is what it is. Those are the first, my first speaker pods, and, they're not too bad, I guess. I know people do all sorts of like they'll do fiberglass with body filler, but my domain is wood, so I just made that kind of plumb bob's shape. Obviously, that took a lot of sanding. I think the Bondo starts like here, so a lot of that is mostly wood. And then there's filler, and then I did a thick primer because I was having trouble getting the chrome kind of consistent. So it is what it is. Like, I'm not necessarily gonna be like competing with this van or going like maybe I'll go to a show, but it's not one of those things where I'm like, oh no, that line had like I get to a point like even I'm not great at working with body filler, and there's techniques of folding it and getting air bubbles out. And I still had a couple dimples show up, so it is what it is. But hey, they pass for me, and I'm sure for most other people that aren't going to be looking at this with an eye loop or a microscope. So pretty cool. I'm excited. I'm not going to have an amp or a sub, but I at least have my deck and I have my 4 speakers. And as soon as this truck is mobile, I need my music. So luckily those are good to go. So anyway, that's all.